right. Yeah, there are cuts that are going to come down from Louisiana, from the state, and it's going to affect vocational schools and technical colleges. The plan has not been set in stone, but clearly they don't have the same amount of money that they had last year. I mean, in February of this year, the state's revenue was lower, is the lowest it's ever been since 1982. For those of you old enough to remember, 1982 was probably the worst economic period that we've gone through in Louisiana in the last 50 years. I mean, Representative LeBas and I have talked. I mean, if the most important thing that we want to make sure doesn't happen is that they close the campus, because as you know, once it's closed, they rarely reopen. It's very hard to get a new program in place. Once you do away with the program, it's very hard to get the program back. When you get it back, if you're a faculty member or an administrator, it's very hard to get the kids to come here, and then once you get the program, it takes a while. I know we started 2 programs here in the last last year, right? Pharmacy tech and auto
electrician.
I'm sorry, electrician. And I don't know what the numbers are in there, but they take a little while to get it built up because the kids have to know that the program's here. They got to know that they have good faculty and all that kind of stuff. So our goal is to make sure that they don't close the school. I mean, we're one of the few parishes that happens to have an industrial park with a vocational school right smack in the middle of it. And, I mean, one of the direct beneficiaries, of course, is across the street. Healthcare providers, there's a list a mile long of people that we need in healthcare, and so closing this program would make it less accessible to the kids that want to, to the students that want to learn it and get certified. So it's a domino effect if they close it, because it'll take forever for us to get it back if we ever do get it back. One of the biggest problems that we have is that the state is sitting on about $800 million in a savings account. If y'all heard about it, it's called the Rainy Day Fund. They started up the Rainy Day Fund, I guess, when, I don't know if that was Clinton, I mean not Clinton, Blanco or Mike Foster. I don't remember what it was. The reason why we started up the Rainy Day Fund is to accommodate the state whenever oil and gas revenue fluctuates, because as you know, it fluctuates. In the summer, you can pay as much as $5 a gallon for gas, and then in the fall, you're paying $2.50. So because of that, state revenue fluctuates, and the idea was that if you save this money, it would carry you through those low time periods. Well, I can't imagine a time where we need it more than is right now. The Governor General has already said on numerous occasions he doesn't think it's a good idea to use the Rainy Day Fund. And so, I mean, that's just his opinion. But if my house is being foreclosed upon and I have a savings account, I don't let the bank foreclose on my house. I go to my savings account and I carry myself over until I can get a job and get my economy, you know, get my situation worked out. Why? That's his train of thought. I don't know. He has to be conservative as possible because he wants to be president, so he needs to look good in other areas of the country and not necessarily in Louisiana. I think if his focus would be on what we need to do here, he would see the light of the day and he'd say, you know what, we have a savings account, we should use it. We don't have to use it all. We still got to take some cuts, but at the same time, the programming, for example, that's here would be carried on, and hopefully the economy is going to turn around in 24 months. The newspaper asked me, well, what happens if you use a savings account in 24 months, the economy doesn't turn around? Well, we're all up the creek in 24 months if the economy doesn't turn around. This school would certainly close, and that would just be the beginning of what would happen. I can imagine, I mean, unemployment would go higher than it is now. The local school board would get even more cuts than it's getting now. So, yeah, I'm worried about what's going to happen 24 months from now, but I have to believe that based on everything that we see, that the economy will turn around. And so we need to just tie ourselves over from today until that happens. And it would be stupid for us to make investments, for example, in expanding the pharmacy tech program and electrician, and to just start it up and then to abandon it so that everybody has to shift gears and move to other places, move faculty around. It just doesn't make any sense to make an investment and just abandon it when you're sitting on money. And by the way, those are your dollars, those are taxpayer dollars, so I mean, it's not like, you know, it's your money. So I would hate for us to not do that. If we don't use that money, you can expect to see some fairly serious changes at all the schools, and probably some of the more rural schools that aren't centrally located, like Lafayette, T.H. Harris on the highway, or maybe the Iberia, because we are a smaller campus. And when they start deciding who's going to get cut what, I can tell you that's what they're going to look at. They're going to look at utilization, so they're going to look at the numbers of the kids in all the classes. They're going to look to see how certified those classes are, how certified the faculty is, are they up to date, all those kinds of things. And that's where they're going to first start looking to cut. Like I said, we don't want them to close the school, nor even to close any of the programs. One of the plans was, as y'all probably heard, was that they would close the school. It wouldn't be year-round, or only some of the classes would be year-round. Again, that is not, none of that's set in stone because we don't really know yet what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen if the rainy day fund doesn't get used. I can tell you right now, all those scenarios are going to come to fruition, and you will see changes here, either program cutting or a school that's only open 9 months out the year, that kind of thing.
So there is an option besides 9 months, as in program cutting?
I think every option's on the table. I mean, we don't really micromanage the schools. Those are the guys that are in charge of it.
Right.
I don't think you want Bedore and I to micromanage these schools, but
we don't want anybody.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, I think it's our goal to get enough funding so that we just can maintain status quo until we get past how long this slowdown is going to happen. They're not just picking on technical colleges. You know, the LSU-E, for example, they had to return. They couldn't even take the students that wanted to go there because they didn't have enough money to do the programming, and the students were there. I forgot how many students, but it was over 1,000. So y'all do know this. The DSS office just closed. You know, probation and parole. There was some shifting around that was possible. The local school board, as you all know, it got cut about 7% over this year. If it stays in place, it could be as much as 7%. So that's the scenario that we're finding.
The only way to get there is through Bobby Jindal, to get to that rainy day?
Well, he has the power to veto the bill. So if we pass it and he vetoes it, well, we stuck at day one.
I was at DSS office, food stamp, etc. right before I came over here, and what I told them was, I believe in the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Start screaming.
We need to have y'all as individuals.
Well, that's why we're squeaking.
Not as a group.
Squeaking.
Yeah, but you're squeaking to us, and
You're squeaking to the choir.
We don't have the grease gun.
Okay, so who has the grease gun?
I would suggest you contact the governor on his email site and just send it.
And
he doesn't reply back. Go try that.
The email site they add. That's a letter.
Yeah, I would send letters.
Yeah. You get over there.
We've been trying to get letters.
Bombard the governor's office with phone calls.
Okay.
Keep calling. It's a public number.
You'll write a letter and sign your name. Sign your name to them. This is personal.
And getting our industry to get letters to and
be specific
we need
with it.
the rainy day fund.
Right, you think that in a crisis like this, it's appropriate to use the rainy day fund?
You all have to tell them this is very, very important to our community and the rest of rural Louisiana. And even not just rural Louisiana, like they say, it's going to affect the New Iberia.
All the campuses will be affected, not just us.
Well, and they have to explain to why the rural. Yes, we have a low enrollment. It's because we have a small community, but
we don't have a low enrollment.
But the majority of our enrollment are adults that have been out of school for at least 5 to 10 years and come back to get an education. So the majority of our students have children in school in these local public schools. So they can't necessarily be an hour's drive away from their children. They need to stay local to get the education where their entire family is local because they want to stay in this local community. People are not going to drive from Opelousas to come work in Ville Platte to make just over minimum wage. It's not worth it with the gas prices. So we need to educate our local people who want to stay local and be accessible to their children during the weekday because they're in
when we
school.
say if you make it too inconvenient, it becomes too inconvenient and too expensive, and you can't do it. A family, mom can't just be gone for 2 hours on the road and have to hire a babysitter while she's going to school in Lafayette.
Then it affects the tax structure over here too, as well as across the state, and that's what's bad right now. Income tax and sales tax are way down, way down. So if we don't have the jobs of the people who are working here, they don't have the money to pay income taxes or to spend in the stores.
But they got to get through education to be able to get those jobs to help with our tax and our economy. They want education. We need to be able to give it to them.
And in the larger communities, how many schools are available to them? They have multiple schools that they can choose from. But in the smaller communities, this is